Hi again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to share with you another story from our Standing Up for Yourself text set. Today's story is called King of the Playground. But before I read that to you, I just want to go over our vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is horseshoe. So, horseshoe, it is a shoe for a horse, but it's also regarded as bringing people luck. Which brings us to our second word, which is lucky. So, lucky is having good things happen to you just by chance. Are you lucky? Sometimes I feel like I am. Our third word is brave. So, brave is used of a person who has or shows no fear when faced with danger or difficulty. And the last word is a feeling. The feeling of being trapped. So, when you feel trapped, it's usually when you're in an unpleasant situation that you think that you can't do anything and you can't escape from it. So that's why we have a picture of this house all boarded up, because if you were inside, it's kind of like showing that feeling. You'd feel trapped, like you couldn't get out and get away. So remember, when you hear those vocabulary words, put your finger on your nose. All right, are you ready? So today's story is King of the Playground. It's by Phyllis Reynolds Naylor, and it's illustrated by Nola Malone. Look at that front cover. What are you noticing? Yeah, I noticed that too. And I want to add on to what you just said by saying that this looks like this boy right here is trying to be very bossy to this boy right here. Have you ever been bossed around? It's not the best. So we're going to find out what happens with these two boys. One's named Kevin and the other is named Sammy. I should also mention that Kevin and Sammy, this boy right here, he says he's the king of the playground. He's being bossy to poor Kevin. And Kevin has to try to figure out how to deal with Sammy. Because not only is he bossy, he's kind of being like a bully. So let's find out what Kevin does to deal with Sammy. Kevin put on his Spider-Man t-shirt, his Batman underpants, and his jeans with the horseshoe on each pocket because he didn't feel brave and he didn't feel lucky. He walked up the street to the playground. He wanted to go down the slide head first, but if Sammy was there, he wouldn't go down at all. Too late. Sammy was there. "You can't come in," Sammy said. "I'm king of the playground." And he told Kevin what he would do if he saw him on the slide. I don't think he's going to go on the slide, do you? Kevin went back home. His father was making soup. "I thought you went to the playground," said Father. "Sammy says if I go on the slide, he'll get a rope and tie me up," Kevin told him. "He says he'll tie my hands and feet so tight I'll never get loose." "Wow," said Father. "Really? And what would you be doing while Sammy was tying you up? Just sitting there?" Kevin remembered when he tried to put a sweater on their cat. "I'd be kicking my feet," he said. "Right," said his dad. "That's one thing you could do." So what is Kevin's dad trying to help him do? Yeah, he's trying to help him figure out how to deal with Sammy. The next day, Kevin went to the playground and got as far as the swings. "You can't play here," yelled Sammy, running over. "I'm king of the swings." And he told Kevin what he would do if he saw him on the swings. Kevin went home and sat on the porch. Father was washing his car. "I thought you were going to the playground," Father called. Kevin shook his head. "Sammy says if I go on the swings, he'll dig a hole and put me in it. He said he'll dig a hole so deep I'll never get out." Father smiled just a bit. "How long do you think it would take Sammy to dig that hole?" Kevin remembered when he had helped his father dig holes for fence posts in the backyard. "A long time," he said. "And what would you be doing while Sammy was digging?" "I'd be kicking the dirt back in," said Kevin, and smiled a little too. "Right," said his dad. "That's one thing you could do." The next day, Kevin went to the playground and tried to climb the monkey bars. "You can't play here. I'm king of the monkey bars," Sammy shouted, and told Kevin what he would do if he saw him there again. Kevin went home and climbed up the maple tree. His father was working in the garden. "I thought you were going to the playground," said Father. "Sammy said if I climb the monkey bars, he'll come over to our house and nail all the doors and windows shut, and we'll be trapped forever." Kevin looked at his father, and they both started to laugh. "And while Sammy was nailing one door shut, we could walk out the other," Kevin says. "Right," said his dad. The next morning, Kevin put on his Spider-Man t-shirt, his Batman underpants, and his jeans with the horseshoe on each pocket. He felt only a little bit brave and a little bit lucky. He walked up the street to the playground. Thump, thump, thump went his heart. Sammy was sitting by himself in the sandbox. It was a big sandbox, but when Sammy was in it, no one else wanted to play. Kevin slowly walked over. "You can't play here," Sammy yelled when he saw him. "I'm king of the sandbox." Kevin put one foot in the box. "Go home," Sammy yelled, even louder. "If you try to play here, I'll put you in a cage with bears in it." Kevin put his other foot in the sandbox. "Then I'll ride on their backs and teach them tricks," he said. Sammy stared. "You can't," he yelled. "They're wild bears." "Then I'll squeeze through the cage and escape." "You can't," Sammy shouted. "You're too big." "Then I'll take magic pills to make me little," said Kevin, beginning to smile. "I'll get through the cage and hide." Look at him there. How little. Kevin's really sticking up for himself, isn't he? "You can't," Sammy hollered. "I'll run after you and pick you up and throw you in a trash can. Then I'll take magic pills to make me big again, and I'll drive away in a truck." "You can't," bellowed Sammy. "I'll go to the army and get a tank and chase the truck and push it off into the ocean." What an imagination he's using. "Try it," said Kevin. Sammy stopped hollering. "What?" he asked. "Try it," said Kevin, and sat down. He began digging a tunnel at one end of the sandbox. For a moment, Sammy didn't say anything at all. Then he began digging a tunnel at his end of the sandbox. Faster and faster and farther they dug, until suddenly, whomp! They bumped heads right in the middle. This time Kevin laughed out loud. He wasn't sure, but he thought maybe Sammy was smiling too. I'm going to build the biggest fort in the world, Kevin said, and began digging again. Ha! Said Sammy. It's got to have 2 towers. It will, Kevin said. It's got to have a drawbridge, said Sammy. It will, Kevin said. It's got to have a ditch all around, said Sammy. It will, Kevin said. Help me build it? Do you think Sammy would be surprised by Kevin asking him to build and play with him? I bet he's never had that happen to him before. Do you think Sammy will help? Let's see if you're right. No, Sammy told him, but he did. The end. Wow, did our character Kevin change from the beginning of the story to the end? Remember, he was very scared of Sammy and wouldn't go near anything. But I think with talking with his dad and problem solving, he got the courage and the bravery to stick up and say, you know what? I'm here to have fun at the playground too. So I have a question for you. What would you do if you saw a bully on a playground? Or if you were being bullied on the playground? What would you say? What would you do? How would you take care of that bully and stand up for yourself? So today, that's what we want you to write about. What would you do? And write a few sentences about it, add a picture, and don't forget to share it with Miss Matthew and me. All right, that's all for today. See you next time.